Recording in progress.
Hi everyone, I am recording this video on principles of right eating, and this is a very important topic, and this is definitely going to help everyone. And if you remember these principles, it will help you a lot in the long run. So let's talk about it. So in our program, we see that we have smoothies that we take on a regular basis. So let's talk about smoothies first. So always have smoothies fresh, whether you have it in the morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time you have it, you always have it fresh. Okay. Do not keep them for a long time after preparing it, as the antioxidants which are there within it will get oxidized and you'll not get the benefits, real benefits from the smoothie which you really want. Then try and have fixed meal timings as much as possible. So what you have to remember is that you do not have to really walk on a tightrope, but you have to walk within the boundaries. So, having lunch between 1 to 2 p.m. is fine. So it's a gap of 1 hour, and within that 1 hour, you are trying to have your meal. That is okay. But let's say if the gap is 1 to 3 p.m. or 1 to 4 p.m., then that's a very wide gap. And what happens during this wide gap is there is a delay in your meal most of the times. Like, for example, people who are supposed to have their lunch between 1 to 2, they are having their lunch at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 5 o'clock sometimes. Now, because of this delay, what is happening is that you become hungry and then you'll end up overeating. So, if you finish off your lunch, especially within the stipulated period of time, either 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, within that time period, okay, and that time period, try to fix it as much as possible. Do not deviate from that time as far as possible, okay. So this is very important. So try to work within the boundaries. If I say 1 p.m., it doesn't mean you have to have it at 1 p.m. itself, but between 1 to 2 p.m. is fine. But 1 to 3 is a big range. It's a 2 hours range, okay. So that doesn't work. And yes, dinner, try and always finish your dinner before 8 o'clock as much as possible. In some cases, yes, you come home late, and at that time it is difficult. But let's say if you're coming home late and you're having your dinner at 10 o'clock, that is not acceptable. Then we have to figure out other ways in which you can finish off your dinner before 8 o'clock, okay. But try to have fixed meal times. This is very important. Now, one more thing which is very important is that if you work more physically, let's say if you do more workouts, or let's say at your work, you were physically challenged and you had to really do a lot of up and down. You have to climb many stores, you have to go, staircases, you have to come down, or the physical work was more because of which you're hungry, then you should eat more because your body demands it. Okay. And if due to any XYZ reason, if you have, worked less, or if you're not hungry, then eat less. For example, if you did a heavy workout, then there is a possibility that you might be more hungry post workout. And so you can eat more. But if you are taking rest due to some illness or you got some injury because of which you're taking rest, then your body doesn't need that much amount of calories at all. That is the time that you should definitely eat less. Okay. That is the reason that during the COVID era that a lot of people ended up gaining weight is because their food intake was the same, whereas the activity which they were doing earlier, that had reduced. So body is not demanding much and we are giving more calories. And that is why a lot of people, they ended up gaining weight during the COVID time. Okay. Keep your gadgets away while eating. This is very important. What happens is that if you're keeping a look at your gadgets, either watching TV or mobile, then what happens is you lose the connection between your stomach signals, and then you don't know exactly how much you're eating, and that's the reason you will end up overeating. This is very important. Okay. Secondly, whenever you are taking the servings, always serve half of what you actually need on your plate, and then you start eating. Okay. Always remember, you can always have another helping of serving. Okay. Because if you serve too much on the plate, then you can't, most of the time you don't want to remove it. Okay. But if you have served less, you can always take another helping. Agar aapko extra laga to aap le sakte ho. Okay. So this will prevent overeating. Okay. And then the next serving also which you take, that should be little less than what you think that you might need, so that this will really ensure that you will not overeat at all. Okay. And keeping the gadgets away is one of the most important things during the time of having a meal. Now, this you can do it for some time, and after some time, what will happen is that even unconsciously you'll have that connection with the stomach, and this I have personally noticed. So even if you're watching TV, still it will not make much difference over a period of time. But you make sure that you follow this fundamental for at least, maybe 6 months or so. Okay, this will help you a lot. Okay, now always have salads first before lunch and dinner. So you will have your salads for lunch and dinner for sure. So always make sure that you first eat salads, and that is 3 to 5 pullers. Okay, and why you should eat those salads, I have mentioned in my weight loss tip number 1. You can check it out. The link is there. Okay, and I think I have given you. So go and check out this video. I forgot to mention here, this is weight loss tip number 1, and you can check it out. Okay, here with the link. Then you should always understand that you should chew your food properly. Our ancient wisdom, everybody knows that we should chew each morsel of food for 32 times before we swallow it. Now, this is, we just talk about it, but most of us don't follow it. This is extremely important. And I also had to learn this. So what I did is that I started consciously counting the number of times we are chewing the food. And having salads before lunch, what happens is that when you're eating salads, you really are forced to chew that salads for 32 times, because you have to really grind it well. And for that, you will actually land up chewing that food 32 times. And that will establish a habit. Okay, so this will ensure that your food is actually properly mixed with the digestive juices and enzymes so that the digestion happens properly. Now, do not drink water for about half hours before and after lunch, a half hour before or after lunch and dinner. Okay, this will ensure proper digestion. So you should understand that, the gastric pH is highly acidic. Okay, so the fluid which is there in our stomach is very acidic, and there is a reason for it, because whatever we are eating, it's a crude format. Okay, it's not a refined one. Okay, so it's in a crude format that we are eating. Now that has to be broken down, okay, into small particles, and that is the reason that we need those acids. There's a reason that your stomach is secreting that acids. Now, if you're drinking water, okay, especially large amounts of water before meals or after meals, then what happens is that that's acid which is secreted in the stomach and is preparing you for the meal now gets diluted. Okay, and then the purpose for which it is there, it doesn't serve the purpose. Okay, but in some cases, some people, they really have the urge to drink water. Then in that case, what you should do is that you should sip a little bit of water just to see that yes, the morsel of food is properly mixed and you're able to swallow it easily. A lot of people, they drink water because they feel that it is easy to swallow. But if you are taking too much water, then what happens is that you will not chew the food much. You will chew it less and you'll just gulp it down. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, so if at all you have a strong urge to drink water, you always remember, take small sips, very small sips, okay, of water, so that it just mixes with the food. You chew it properly and then gulp it down. Okay. Now, let's say if you feel full and you do not want to eat further, and still there is some food which is left on your plate, then what to do? And, in our ancient wisdom, or probably in everybody's house, you might say, do not waste food. You should, leave your plate clean. You should not throw off your food. All these beliefs are there in our mind. Now, there is no need to finish it off. Understand that. Okay. You can either give that food to someone else or you can throw it off. Okay. You can throw it off, believe me. Okay. Now, if you eat it, let's say, okay, considering that you do not want to waste it, then, you should not have taken it in the first place. That's the reason, the earlier fundamental that, just serve half of what you need in your plate. That makes sense. Okay. So let's say, but you have taken more and you do not want to eat, then, what you should do is that you should throw it off. Just imagine, let's say if you eat it, just thinking that, you do not want to waste the food. What happened is that you have landed up overeating now. Now, is there any benefit of it? Absolutely not. So what benefit has it made by you clearing off the entire plate? Absolutely not. You were the person at loss. Understood? And वो खाने का भी कुछ खास फायदा नहीं हो ना, आपने food waste नहीं किया, that's okay. But the thing is that it benefited nobody. Understood? So the best policy is to take less food and prevent overeating. Okay. Now the best way to eat food is sitting on the floor cross-legged, Sukhasana bolte hain, and everybody likes to sit in Sukhasana. Okay, we feel comfortable in Sukhasana. And there is a whole lot of details actually about Sukhasana, but these are some of the advantages. Okay, see, it aids digestion as it triggers abdominal muscles and facilitates gastric juices. So just imagine whenever you are eating in Sukhasana and your plate is down on the floor, what is happening is that you are actually bending forward and then going back, bending forward and going back. So what is happening is that the abdominal muscles are triggered, and so the gastric fluids, even the other intestinal fluids, they are getting triggered, and that is how it aids digestion. Okay, it also helps in losing weight because there are body movements back and forth which are happening, and it will also help you to feel fuller faster, because the position is such that it will exert a pressure, little bit pressure on the abdomen, and that is the reason that probably you'll not eat more. Okay, you may not overeat. So that's another advantage. Sukhasana also increases blood circulation, even Padmasana actually, but Sukhasana is a better option. Most of the people, they cannot sit in Padmasana for long hours, but yes, in Sukhasana, you can, it increases the blood circulation in the body as it calms the nerves and helps us relax. And everybody feels relaxed when they are sitting in Sukhasana. In fact, even if I'm sitting on, a chair, I always like to sit in Sukhasana, even on the chair. And because I feel comfortable, I feel nice. Okay. And it improves your posture also because it keeps your back upright. Whereas if you're sitting on a chair, it may not keep your posture upright. So, if you're sitting down, there is no support behind, then, you will try to keep your posture upright. Then it will also relax your mind and body. So there are multiple advantages. So these are some of the very important things to remember about principles of right eating. Okay, this is very important. One of the principles which I've missed here is that you should, after having your dinner, you should not sleep for at least 2 to 3 hours. This is very important. Okay, a lot of people, they have the dinner and they sleep immediately. Now, this is a sure shot way in which you will increase your weight. You will have gastric issues, you will have reflux problems, all sorts of issues. Okay, so always remember, once you have your dinner, do not go in lying down position. You can have a short walk, and you make sure that you sleep at least 2 to 3 hours after you have your dinner. This is very, very important. You should sleep on an empty stomach, preferably. Okay, I hope this helps. Thank you very much.